Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a super exciting product review. We're going to be looking at the Vangoa PDM power pedal board. Now, what makes this pedal board unique? Well, it's actually got all the power you need for your pedals built in, so you don't have to worry about having a separate power pedal or worry about running out of power connections, because on this board you've got enough room for 2 rows of pedals, loads of power connectivity, and the board is super lightweight, so it's an absolute breeze to pick up. Now, the lightweight nature of this pedal board comes down to its one-piece aluminium frame. This looks really cool, but it does get covered up a little bit when you put down the Velcro. Then you can put the locking end of the Velcro on the back of your pedals, which is what is going to secure them to the board. And I will say be careful when doing this, because I put a couple of pedals using the Velcro provided, which is amazing, by the way. It's so strong that it's not very easy to get the pedals off, so I'd recommend spending a bit of time figuring out where you want your pedals to go, and if you are going to be taking them kind of on and off a little bit, not putting too much of the kind of grabby Velcro on the back of the pedals. Now, not only does this pedal board come with its built-in power, leads, mains connectivity, etc., you also get a really nice gig bag. Now, this gig bag has a pocket in the front here, as you can see, where you could store some books or spare cables. Inside we've got a couple of fasteners so the board's not going to go anywhere when you're carrying it, and a further little travel storage compartment here. Now, also there's this on the back, a further strap system, which is actually designed so if you want, you can carry this on your back or even fasten it to your gig bag. And it looks like it's kind of like a reflective material almost, so it's going to be fairly visible. It's nice and lightweight as well, which is ideal, because once you put a few pedals on this thing, the weight does soon add up quite a bit. Now, the signal chain is something to bear in mind. Vangoa does provide a sheet which is really useful, and this shows you 3 possible connection paths. So I use possible connection 1, and this was to have the first pedal on the right of the pedal, then you go round, and then you start again on the right for your second row. Now, with the first pedal, you go from the out to the first pedal, and then you would go from your guitar to the in, which is located on the back of the pedal board. There's also 2 more possible connection setups, so it's worth considering these so that you can set up your board how you would like it. Now, there's also a really useful little manual, and within this it explains all the different power sources. So the built-in power does have different options. You've got options for 18 volt and 12 volt and different milliamps within those. So be sure to check what your pedal voltage requirement is, because that's really important. That's going to prevent you from doing any damage. And then from there, you've also got the option of a slight difference, I think 300 and 500 milliamps. So if it's like a preamp type pedal and does require that bit more current, then you might want to opt for the 500, but otherwise the 300 is going to be just fine. Now, one of the other really cool features of this pedal board, on the back of the board there is a light which ranges from green, then amber, then red, and it basically shows you kind of how high your signal, and I think you can even set this so that it's either your input gain or the output gain, and this just enables you to have a little visual reference for how high your signal is, if it's peaking, if it's in the red. And it's very similar to if you were recording into, say, Logic, and you get the mixer bar coming up saying just about where your volume is. And this is a really nice feature, and at night this really lights up, it glows a little bit. And if you've also got some pedals on the board that light up as well, you kind of get this cool little light show. If it is too distracting, you can also turn this off. All of this is explained in this really useful manual. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that you will need a few different types of leads. You're going to need the small leads that go between the pedals, so they patch cables, and you're also going to need, if you've got 2 rows, which I have on this board, if you've got the bigger board and you're using 2 rows, you're going to need a cable that goes from the first row and then round and across to the next pedal in line of the second row. So you're probably going to need maybe 2 kind of 3-foot cables, and then maybe like half a dozen patch cables, and then of course the cable from your guitar and the cable that is going out to your amp or recording interface. There's also 2 aluminium feet at the back, and you can take these out and they just raise the pedal board up a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to kind of access the pedals at the back. Also looks really cool. So in total it took me about 2 hours to set up the pedal board, and a lot of that was kind of deciding on the signal chain and creating something that I was going to be happy with leaving in that order for quite some time. You do need to allow a bit of time to cut up the Velcro. The first kind of fuzzy side, which is the side that I laid down on the board, which seems to be generally recommended, that lays down pretty quickly. You just got to get that even because it is super sticky onto the board. And then with the kind of locky side of the Velcro, this goes on the back of the pedals, and you get plenty of this. I've got plenty left over, and these two lock together really nicely. So I'd like to say thank you to Vangoa for gifting me this pedal board for review. I really like it. I think having the built-in power is an absolute game changer, not having to worry about, you know, even more like a power supply, which they can be quite big, which is going to add more weight. And this pedal board, you know, alone with all that built in, seems to be super light. Obviously, like I said, when you put the pedals on, it does increase the weight, but it's actually really light just on its own. The gig bag carry case is really nice, seems like really good quality, and that's going to be really handy to take out, and again just reduces that weight a little bit. So overall, I'd highly recommend checking out this board if you're looking for kind of a premium studio setup, and definitely also for the gigging musician who wants to kind of reduce the weight as much as possible and also have something that the connectivity is just super simple and also has lots of different options for the voltages, because the pedals can vary a little bit. Even though many of them are 9 volt, you can get some that are say 18. And I really like the bonus features of the lights. I think it looks super cool, and the 2 feet that come out at the back also really kind of add to the whole package. So I'd highly recommend checking this one out. Check down for links in the description. If you'd be keen to check out this pedal board, let me know down in the comments section. And if you've enjoyed this video, check out my gear and review playlist right here.